Welcome,
Hi.
Phyness.
Hi, thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
I was watching you and Rob's Eye in there performing there, and obviously I didn't know anything about you. I knew Rob's Eye. But the collaboration that the two of you have, could you expand on it and tell me from a musical point of view, how do you
Okay.
get together?
Well, prior to me meeting Rob, we both had separate careers. Of course, Rob's was like way longer than mine. I was an independent artist. I'd worked with quite a few bands on the cruise ship and what have you as a vocalist. And he had two of my past band members in a new band that
No
he
way.
formed. And those were two guys that I loved working with. And one of them recommended me to him as he was looking for a vocalist. I remember going into his studio and I was like, what am I going to sing? Because whenever somebody asks a singer to sing a song, we just forget automatically every song that we know. So I went in there and turns out I didn't even have to sing. We just had conversations about what music means to us and what we wanted to do as musicians and how serious we take our role as artists, right? And so yeah, it was just a conversation, and I started off with this band. And one day I was like, can I just come with you on one of your solo gigs? I just wanted to try it out. And we did that, and we've not stopped since then. It's just
So
been,
5 years.
yes, 6 years actually.
Oh, sorry, 6 years.
Yes.
So you started out as a vocalist, but now you write as well.
I write and I also play the guitar currently. I'm not a professional
You're
yet.
but you're fully.
And I also dabble in production, my own production. So
I was listening to you, and you have quite a flexible way of singing. You can sing jazz, you can sing
Yes.
reggae, you can. So where did you inherit?
I have never taken classes. It's something that I wanted to do. I want to do voice training, but I feel like it will take away from my natural ability to sing. I listen to a lot of trained vocalists, and sometimes they just don't sound like they're feeling what they're singing. They just sound like they're trying to get right notes. I have this thing that I say, genuineness over perfection, because I think that people being able to relate to you is much more important than coming out perfect. Because people wanting to aspire to be perfect, it can be intimidating.
Can be annoying as well.
Yes, so I believe in just being real, being me. Even when I sing on stage and I would hear a crack in my voice, sometimes I'd be like, well, that kind of added something to the song. so yes, so.
Because I was watching you guys, just briefly there while, and I was thinking, but I remember watching Rob's Eye a few years ago, and the two of you just fit together like hand in glove, so to
Thank
speak,
you.
singing. And your style go together very, very well.
Thank
So
you.
do you, before you perform, obviously, you practice, both of you practice a lot? Or
I have to actually say, not really.
I don't think so.
It's just, Rob Zaya describes it as a natural progression of things because we have not, in fact, generally, I would say with any band that I've worked with, seldom practice. It's always about you get into your feeling, you get into your soul as a musician, and you pay attention to the message that you want delivered and how you want people to feel when they listen to you. And I think Rob Zaya and I have that in common. So sometimes I think when you saw me perform, I did this song that I had never done before because somebody requested it. And I just happen to have, if I like a song, I have the music, I keep the music with me. And somebody requested a song that I never would imagine anybody requesting. And then I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Sometimes I do it a cappella if I don't have the music to it. But that's how it works for Rob Zaya and I. Sometimes we're at a gig and then we're like, let's try this song. Like at our performance last night, we just did a number of songs that we've never done before.
Oh, you performed last night?
Yes, we just did something that we've never done before. And you don't get very often people that you could flow with like that. So that's why I think our bond as musicians is very genuine and strong. And it's one that I appreciate very much.
Yeah, because I was watching you, just going back to it a bit together, and I saw that as a Jamaican would say, that mesh, and you can't, if you're working with anyone, even in a band, if you're not together, it shows.
Yes.
But with you two, it was effortless.
Thank you.
So I want to compliment. So now that you've been working in collaboration for 5 years, how do you see yourself? Like I'm asking you the same question.
Well, for me, musically, I wanted to be whatever your little girl would say, a superstar. However, it's more than that for me now. I am very much interested in reaching people through my music and using my music to reach people in other ways. Yeah, so working with Rob Zai, that's another thing we have in common. We want to be more than just singers or people you aspire to be because of maybe you like to sing or maybe the way we dress. We wanted to have a deeper attraction to people, a deeper level of inspiration. So I would like us to continue making positive music. It's very important to me that my lyrics are always positive. I've had people approach me with, hey, I wrote a song for you. And I sing it or I listen to the lyrics and I'm like, no, and I would recommend another singer that I think would sing it, but I'm like, that's not in alignment with who I am as a person. So I'm not singing to get attention. I'm singing because I want to use my talent to make a difference. Yes, I want
your own individual music.
Yeah, I prefer when Rob Zai and I write songs together because we write from our experiences and at the same time, not from a negative perspective. It's important to me, something bad can happen to you, but you can write in a way that you're advising yourself how to deal with that situation, and automatically you're advising somebody else who might be in that situation on how to deal with it. Yes.
I was listening to it. Obviously, that must come through experience.
Yes. And that's another thing I love. I listened to, before I met Rob Zai, I will tell you that I also was guilty of considering him a jazz musician. And then when we started working together, I actually love. We've turned quite a few of his songs into duets. And I love the messages in his songs. I think really that every single song that I've heard of his, I'm not being biased at all. I think that they all can be reintroduced, not production-wise or anything, just reintroduced, re-released, because the messages will always be relevant in those songs. The stories they tell. My favorite song of his is Now's the Time, because it just, we hadn't. He did suggest it, so my bad. I was like, remember we were arguing, we were like on stage, Rob was like, whatever song she says is what we're doing. So Now's the Time is my favorite song of his because it's one of those songs, if you haven't listened, you should. It's a fusion of reggae and dance pop. And it's just that song that makes you just want to get up and go. And I believe that my writing has changed because of me listening to his songs. Like they're always so philosophical. Yes. So I think that that's another way it's impacted me.
That's very deep in music when you write.
Yes.
Because people, it's almost like composing in depth, isn't it? It's not just something that you just get up and do.
It's not just about rhyming. A lot of people, and not all of his songs rhyme, but they make a lot of sense when you listen to it. Writing is supposed to, when you listen to a song, when I listen to a song, in addition to listening to the instruments, it's important that I like the message of the songs. I have to appreciate the message, even more than I do the instruments around it. The message would make me fall in love with everything else automatically.
Well, maybe that's why you have the name Phyness. It goes. Sorry, I couldn't help that.
Everybody, people say it all the time. But I should tell you that was not my original name. I've never said that on a camera before. And Rob Zai, if he's listening to it, would probably be like, I can't believe she's saying that. I want to tell you why I changed it. Because I believe that I came from a certain place in my life where I felt like my direction was directed by people around me and not myself. So it was important to me that when I changed my name, my first name is Phyness, my last name, George Wilson, is my mom and dad's last name. It was my way of reinventing myself because of how I acknowledged my growth as a woman, as a female. And it was my new beginning. And I was like, this is where I set the rules of my life, and this is where I make my happiness a priority and my spirituality a priority.
That is so apt and so
philosophical. This name, this name was given to me by the very first producer I worked with, Randall Hille. I was 17, and I remember he presented to me a CD with instrumentals, and he's like, write to it. So I wrote like 14 tracks in like one day. Like 14 tracks. So I have an unreleased album. And he was like, look how you just finesse. That's your name, Phyness. He just stopped. That's your name, Phyness. And I didn't get it at first. I was like, okay. And he started calling me that forever. Everybody calls me that now. And then that's why I was like, okay, this name is a name that I could relate to because it was bestowed upon me by
Bestowed.
someone who saw
Nice.
my musical side and was appreciative of that. And music is my reason for being here, really.
So, what name would you, for the reinvention of yourself, you still...
No, my previous name
So-
was simple. It was just Tessa.
Okay.
Phyness is my new name.
Pseudonym name.
It's my real name. That's my legal name now. I changed it legally. Yes.
So it seems from the name, you've carved something out still from the name. Because even with Rob's Eye, Destiny, that is something that even goes with Phyness, from what I'm seeing. Because the both of you are looking into your future and is carving out your future. I think those two words stand out straight away to me, even now.
Thank you. I didn't think of it that
So
way.
just going on a bit, you play the guitar. I mean,
I
that's
start,
very-
and that was also inspired by. I've never wanted to be just a singer. I dabble in dancing. I draw. I do a lot of
an
things.
artist.
I love the arts. Yes. If I were not a singer, I'd probably be a dancer or I'd be an actress. I also did a bit of acting. We had this local soap opera. Why can't I remember the name? Island Secrets.
Okay.
And I was the first part of the first cast. I had to stop, obviously, because of work, but then that was something I'm very passionate about as well.
So that's why on stage we see the theatrical side of
But
you
it's
as
really
well.
not. It's just me being myself.
Being an artist.
Yes,
with all
just
those
me,
things.
yes.
So there's a lot of strings to your bow. I mean, one cannot pinpoint any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And going in the future, I mean, you can see yourself. Do you still see, obviously you must see yourself with Rob's Eye and
Yes.
future stage internationally.
That's what I see. I see us doing music, continuing to make positive music, and I like to highlight positive music, music that's uplifting, traveling the world doing that. It doesn't have to be to sold out arenas. It
No,
could just
it
be
doesn't.
to a club or a pub, or even when we went to New York, we did busking in Central Park, and that was so fulfilling for me
Yes.
because that's the most fulfilling thing you could do, really, because random people would stop from all different backgrounds and appreciate what you're doing, and that was. You get their attention. They would stay on their entire lunch break to listen to you
Listen.
sing. So that
And
was.
it must have been new for you as well.
It
Busking.
was. It really was.
So people don't do it here. They don't do it in
No,
the Caribbean.
if you did that here, they'd be like, "What's?"
Yeah. That's the difference, though,
Yes,
isn't it?
it's and when you do that, you get an appreciation for people generally. Now I see a lady in the boulevard singing, and I would listen to her. There's a lady with a guitar actually by the Central Library. I would listen to her. Some people I just walk along because they do it just because, but others I listen to because there's a message in their song.
And the guitar, how long you been playing?
I had started the guitar
Who
into.
introduced you to playing?
To playing the guitar, I would say I was inspired by a bandmate that I met in Rob's Eye's band, The Black Sheep, Dwight. I had a conversation with him. I still ask him for a little advice, and if every now and then. I'm not a professional yet, I will say. But what really inspired me to get into the guitar was working with Rob's Eye. Like, when you perform all the time, all I had to use was my voice, and he had his saxophone. So let's say he got a little cough or a cold or something, he could like play his way through. He still would come to work. But for me, it was just my voice, and I'm like, I need to be more than just a singer. I need to be an instrument. I want to play an instrument. I want to set up. I do everything. I set up for the gigs. I break down. I
I
can
was
do
watching
everything.
you.
Yeah, I do everything.
DJing
He taught
as
me to do
well.
all of that. Yeah. Yes, he taught me to do all of that. So I started practicing first the keyboard when I was in secondary school. I played the keyboard, but the guitar, I would say, was as much as I looked at Dwight's playing, Rob made me want to play an instrument because of how passionate I see he play his instrument. He plays his instrument with so much passion.
Well, I can definitely say, Phyness, that you have brought passion to us,
Thank
the
you.
both of you together, and I wish you all the best, the two of you together.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
All the best. It's a pleasure having you.
And thanks for
Thank you.
having me.